It is so good to have you back on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming and joining me again.
Thanks for inviting me back. I'm really excited to come back and speak to you again because I feel like lots has changed since the
Yeah.
last time I was here. So I'm excited to share what I've been up to and yeah, what kind of direction I'm going in now.
Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So, do you remember when you were last on the podcast? When did that episode go live? Was it like 6 or 7 months ago, maybe
Yeah,
longer?
maybe a bit longer. Yeah, it was probably around, I want to say it was like April-ish last year.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
about right.
yeah,
So yeah, you came on and you shared like the lessons learned in building your business up until that point, the challenges
yeah,
that you'd navigated. Um, and I think I reached out to be like, Emily, we need you back on the podcast because it's really interesting for me as a coach when I am like working with clients, we see growth in at different rates at different stages, and something flipped with you. And we'll talk about what that was, how that happened. But this flip, this like little switch, is a huge thing that I see that happens. And sometimes it takes people a really long time to get there. Some people never really get there. But it kind of just flipped things. And the way you show up in your business has completely changed from my perspective and what I'm seeing on social media, from talking to you, for the better. Like, it's changed for the better, and it's only
yeah,
building momentum just at a faster pace than ever before. And this is what everyone listening, everyone growing their business, this is what everyone is wanting to do, but it's so hard to like articulate what is that flip, because
yeah.
we were chatting before we started recording about this, and then you're like, wait, let's hit record. But the reality is, when you're building a jewelry business, the actual strategies, even the strategies we're teaching in the Jewelry Business Academy, on one level, they're very simple. And when you break them down into, here's like the steps of sending an email, here's the steps of doing a post that's going to drive engagement or drive awareness, here's the steps of doing a collab. Like, when you break these down, or here's the steps for getting wholesale accounts, the actual steps could be done by a teenager, like, who just
Yeah,
follows them. The steps and the strategies are not complicated, but they're not easy either. So they're simple but not easy, and the blocks within ourselves of like actually doing them, or actually like posting versus posting with a bit more depth and posting with a bit more conviction. Like, there's a subtle difference there, and it makes the world of difference. So
yeah.
let's just let's start with, why don't you give everyone a little summary as to
Yeah.
where you're based, the jewelry business you're building, and also just share a little bit, because you're obviously in the corporate world still, you're building your jewelry business. Like, let's start there and then we'll dive in.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm based in the UK and I make polymer clay jewelry. And my offer statement, which I kind of tweaked recently, is all about creating jewelry to help spark conversations for sensitive souls. And it's really aimed at kind of people like myself who are either a bit more on sort of like the quieter side or more reserved, to help them start conversations and help them encourage them to speak out a little bit more and recognize that they deserve to be seen, and just give them a little boost of confidence. um, and yeah, you mentioned that I'm still in the corporate world, and I think the last time we spoke, I was still doing full time, and since then I've actually moved to doing 4 days a week in my day job, and then I'm spending Fridays to focus on my jewelry business, which has been, I feel like it's been a game changer. Like, I've had so much more time to actually spend on building my business and actually taking things forward and actually seeing more progress, because I feel like when you're in the corporate world and you have limited time, it's really hard to see progress, and that kind of it's it it's hard to kind of see the motivation because the progress is slower. So yeah, that's been really helpful to kind of move to the 4 days and see a lot more progress. And the shift that you were talking about before was all because of the retreat that I went on a couple of months ago. And I think that turning point was actually discovering my like real purpose for actually making the jewelry, because before I went on the retreat, I kind of, I mean, I enjoyed making jewelry and I just enjoyed like creating things and like doing arts and crafts and that kind of stuff. But I, I have to say, like, there wasn't like a true meaning or like true purpose that I could find for actually making jewelry. But since doing all of the deep conversations that we had in the retreat helped me kind of discover the real reason and my actual purpose. And I think it's the actual purpose that has helped me drive the business forward and actually um yeah, have that drive to keep things moving. So that has been like a huge turning point for me, and it's just been really exciting to see things change since then, and especially with the engagement as well. Like, people have, it feels like I've connected more with people for sure,
Mm-hmm.
especially with sharing my story, and like how it's resonating with people. I think that's really exciting to see. And that's just like another part of the motivation that just helps as well, because I can see the impact that it's having. I think the the impact part is really one of the other things that kind of helps drive me as well. So yeah, it's just been really good ever since coming back from the
Mm.
retreat, I have to say.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I love hearing this so much, Emily. And so, one of the things, let's start with the corporate world because, the reality is, like you shared, when you have limited time and limited energy to put in your business, and you can maybe only do 30 minutes a day, or we have clients who can only do 30 minutes a week sometimes. And that's just what it is. And you kind of just have to go with that. But when you are able to, get some of your time back, like you've been able to, you've had such a great company that you're working with who is allowed you to go for working 4 days a week and giving you that extra day to work on your business. When we're able to spend that full day consistently every week on our business and build that
Yeah.
momentum, it just fires us up a little bit more because we see progress faster. And when we see progress, it sort of is just, it builds on itself. And so I think it's just a really good reminder for anyone listening who is in the corporate world that, there are different ways of getting some of your time back. Maybe you hire a cleaner to help get some of that time back. Maybe you're getting meal prep food 5 days a week. So you're saving 30 minutes a day just where you can go and put that time in your business. Maybe you're having conversations with your bosses about cutting your hours or rearranging your schedule. Because, yeah, like getting that time makes a difference. Like, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice to someone who's maybe where you were at that point where you just didn't really have enough time to work on your business, um, and maybe you were scared of even asking for time or like making a change? Like, what would your advice be to someone who's in a similar situation?
Oh, I would probably really think about your goal and where you want to be, because if you don't take your time back, it's just really hard to get anywhere. Like, I think it was you who said it, like, time is something that you're never going to get back, but money is something that you will be able to get back. So it's kind of having that shift in your mindset and trying to think of ways where you can actually get your time back. So if that is trying to ask for less hours, then that is something that you could look into, especially if you're working for a company that is a bit more relaxed and has that culture where they kind of let people do that. I was really lucky to be able to get that chance to do that and have people who at work are really supportive of what I do as well. So yeah, I've kind of been really lucky in that aspect. But yeah, just it's really thinking about like your purpose and what you really want to be doing. Like think about in 10 years time, if you're looking back now, will you regret that you didn't cut back on those hours and not spend more time on your business and kind of drive things forward and really make the progress that you want to see? So that's probably what I would say.
I love that so much, Emily. That is really, really good advice. And I think it's easy to get caught up in like the day to day that you forget to recognize like 10 years can go by real fast.
Yeah,
And it's being
definitely.
like, wait, let's like build this business intentionally. Let's do life intentionally. Let's think of
Yeah,
what's important for me short term and long term. What sacrifices am I willing to make? What uncomfortable things am I willing to do? You know, having uncomfortable conversations with our bosses, maybe, or, you know, cutting hours is not necessarily easy, but it's definitely worth it when you look at the long term plan for you and your business. So here's where a lot of jewelry business owners get caught up. And this is what you've been able to do so, so well. The reality is, in the world, I don't even know how many polymer clay jewelry businesses there are, like thousands and thousands and thousands. And they're all on Instagram fighting for space. And this is where people go wrong. They think they're selling just jewelry. They forget about the feeling. They forget about, like, well, what makes us different? What makes me different? And, you know, we can talk about this pretty openly, because even if somebody listening is like, oh my gosh, Emily's onto something, I am going to copy her, it's not going to work. It is
yeah,
not going to work. So, what you've done so well is, as you said, you've found your real why for building this
yeah,
business. You found that deep sense of, this is why I'm doing it. And
yeah,
it took a few months to actually get to that place. And despite that, you kept showing up, you kept doing what's required, you kept taking action in your business, which is so important, because that clarity came through taking action, through showing up, through getting evidence, through working through things, through starting to use your voice. That clarity would never have come if you just sat back and thought it through before launching your business or before
yeah.
growing your business. Um, and so, what would you say is your advice to someone who's like selling their jewelry? They're like, oh my gosh, it feels so hard to find that sense of purpose, or like why this is so important to me. What would you say is like your best piece of advice to them?
Oh, that's a difficult one because I think for me it was really hard to figure out like what my actual purpose was. But I guess it's kind of thinking I had to like really reflect on my like life. It sounds really deep, but that's kind of what I actually had to do and like think about um what were my like biggest worries, insecurities growing up, and thinking about whether there are other people out there who might have the same thoughts. Because you you probably might think that there's not, but when you actually say say these things out loud, there are actually people who resonate. Like in the retreat, when I was talking about my story, I didn't think that anyone would actually relate, but like a lot of people in the room then kind of spoke to me afterwards and did resonate with parts of my story. So yeah, I guess it's just thinking about things that you're passionate about in life, and anything that you think is, yeah, like something that you've, I don't know, maybe it's something that's happened in your life, some kind of big event that's had a huge impact on you. Maybe it's even that, and having other people resonate with that, or some people who have had the same experience. Um, yeah, I feel like I've waffled there.
No, that's really good advice, Emily. And you're right on. Like, that's exactly what I'd say. And the reason this is so effective is that in life, in the world we're living in, people are actually very lonely in society today. It doesn't matter if they have a whole family at home. A lot of people feel very lonely in the challenges that they're facing in life, in the things they're going through. So, in your situation, you're very soft spoken, reserved, like you've shared in the past, growing up, or, even in the corporate world, um, using your voice, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like using your voice and sharing your opinions and starting conversations with people is not your strength. It's not in your
Yeah.
comfort zone. It's not where you're thriving. And it can be very debilitating for people. Like, I've actually been there as well. Like, believe it or not, I was like the shyest, quietest, most reserved person you've probably ever met. I couldn't even say hello to people at one stage when I was younger. I was so awkward and so shy and so just scared of the whole world.
Yeah.
And you feel very alone. You feel sometimes even embarrassed that that's how you feel that way. And you feel like, what's wrong with me? Why am I
Yeah.
like this? How does everyone else find life and interactions with people so easy? And then when you're on Instagram and you find someone, or you're in an event and you meet someone who's like, hey, this is my story. And you're suddenly like, whoa, wait, I'm not the only one. And oh my gosh, I like, this is how you're working through this. And this is how you've grown through this. And this is what you're doing now. It makes you feel less alone. It inspires you that, you can move through this. He has ways to handle it. He has ways to grow through it. He has ways to accept it. Um, and like, essentially, you're going to feel deeply connected to those people too.
Yeah.
And so by you sharing that story and, your purpose for your business in that way, it makes people who resonate with that feel like, oh my gosh, I feel I'm like the same. Emily and me are the same person. And maybe I'm a few years behind or ahead in that journey, but like, I resonate with that so much. I relate to that. I relate to the fears around like starting conversations or talking to people. And so I'm going to follow along. Now they're following along. Now when they go for wine nights at their friend's house and something comes up around like, oh my gosh, it was so awkward today. I went to a networking event and I just stood on the side because I didn't know what to do. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you know what? I used to feel the same way. And then I met this girl on Instagram, Emily, and she was actually exactly the same. And she's like in the corporate world doing all this stuff, but actually was hesitant to go and start these conversations. But then she started creating this jewelry, which are these gorgeous, like floral pieces. They're so beautiful and they're so eye catching that you can't help but notice them. And so many people stop and like say something. And that first interaction opens up that conversation. And so she's been using her jewelry as a way to start conversations at work events, at social events. And she helps other like sensitive souls like us, like more reserved people, actually go out into the world and have something that's going to start a conversation, because once we get going, we're fine. It's that initial start. So we're giving people something to talk about, and people want to share stories. They don't want to share like, go buy these products. They want to talk about the story. Is there anything you would add to that? Like, what's your experience of that been, Emily? Because you've been doing such a great
Yeah.
job of like being very real. Like,
Yeah.
you have not gone and made up a story. This is a
Yeah.
very real story. And maybe what I shared isn't all necessarily true because I'm just, going off, winging it here. But your story is very real to you. It's something you've deeply experienced. It's almost, well, let me know if you're okay with us sharing this. We can cut this out. But, at the retreat, when you shared your why, when you finally dug deep to
Yeah.
that, it brought you to tears.
Yeah.
And so this is very real. And so when you're going and you're sharing and you're helping, like, you have so much conviction over what you're doing, and people can sense that. And
Yeah.
people can feel that, and they feel so drawn to you, and they feel so connected to you and your brand, and connected to the jewelry, and they want to be a part of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I got like quite emotional at the retreat because I feel like I'm still kind of going through it, to be honest. Like it's
Mm.
still a journey for me. And like even now, sometimes when I'm posting those really deep posts, I still kind of get uncomfortable posting them, but I know that I should share them anyway because there's people out there who will resonate with it. So it's kind of just getting over that initial fear and thinking about the end goal. And it's just kind of like that, the story that you were talking about, and having people relate to your story so much that they can actually recall that it was you and then share it with other people that they know. So yeah, it's really about kind of finding what your story is and thinking about how people can connect with it. And I feel like I'm able to really share that on my Instagram because it's something that I've experienced as well. Like it's a benefit that I've had wearing my own jewelry that gives me confidence as well. I think I shared one of this one of these examples in my previous posts, but there was like a huge work conference that I was presenting at, and it was like over 600 people that were in the audience. And the day before, I was like so nervous, and I was preparing my script and I was reading it over and over. And I knew like I had to do something to kind of help calm myself. And I just thought I'll just wear my jewelry because I don't, it sounds weird, but I never wear my jewelry to work. So it was kind of like my armor, to be honest, at that event. And um, yeah, when we got to the event and it was our turn to kind of do our talk, I was wearing my jewelry and I had my earrings on, had my bracelet on, and I had my cards in my hand, but I didn't actually even need to look at them. Like that's how much confidence my jewelry gave me. I mean, the other thing that probably helped was that the spotlight was shining on me, so I couldn't actually see the audience. But yeah, it's just like a shift in mindset, to be honest, and how much jewelry can help you. It's that connection that you can build with it. So yeah, if you can find your story and find your people, then I think that's what gives you the most sense of purpose.
Yeah, I love that so much. And finding your story can take time. So here's like just an indication for everyone listening. I mean, Emily, you've been in the Jewelry Business Academy for, is it a year, just over a year?
It's coming up to 2 years now, I think.
Yeah, coming up for 2 years. And you can bet like one of the first things we're diving into when clients come into the academy is your why and like, why are we doing this? What's the story here? And it can take time to break down those layers. I even think on the retreat, correct me if I'm wrong, but on the first or second day, we were doing a lot of stories, and I don't think you shared yours until the last day. I
Yeah,
think it was the last day, the like last few
yeah,
minutes, the
yeah,
last like 25, 30 minutes that we
yeah.
had in the coaching sessions where you were like, okay,
Yeah, you're
I'm
like, anyone
ready.
else want to share the story? And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, like this hand that was
yeah,
barely popping up was
yeah,
like, maybe.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, for anyone who's thinking, listening to this and is feeling maybe frustrated that you don't know what your story is, you don't know what the why is yet, that's okay. It takes time. And there's also lots of walls. I can almost guarantee when we bring you back on in a year from now or 6 months from
yeah,
now, this story is going to have even more depth to it. You're going to have broken down even more whys. And that's the same with everyone's story, even my story. I mean, I'll have to maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I'll think about sharing it on the podcast. But I've shared my story a million times on the podcast and Instagram posts, all of that. Who gets the real story? The people at the retreat. They got the real story, and that was months ago. And I was told by multiple people, like, you have got to share this online. And still, I haven't done it. And it's one of those things where it's also taken me years and years and years to even admit that that's the story, to admit that those are the blocks and things I went through. And so it takes time. And so, yeah, so you identified this. It brought us to tears. It brought the whole room to tears. Like so many of us resonated with it.
yeah,
And then you went back home to the UK. So you came all the way to Kelowna for the retreat, BC, Canada, which was super fun. What was your like favorite part of like coming to the retreat?
Uh, I think it was meeting everyone in person because, like, we're on our Zoom calls and it's harder to kind of build connections over video, to be honest. And because we, I guess, yeah, we've got the group calls, and then I guess we can also connect over the Facebook group that we've got, and also connect over Instagram. But it's just different in person,
Yeah.
and you can just get a lot deeper. You can hug people. You can just really chat about anything, and you've just got a lot more time with people. So that was probably one of my favorite things, and then also seeing Canada because that was my first time actually going there, and the scenery was so nice. Like when I first landed, you can like see the mountains as you start going down the plane, and I was so excited. And even like the taxi ride to the Airbnb, I was just staring at the out of the window, and I was like, "Whoa, everything looks so nice." So that was probably one of the biggest things that I really enjoyed as well. So yeah, scenery and people.
Yeah, the people was the best. I mean, we felt like a big family that had just been like
Yeah,
reunited. And I think spending so much time going so deep with everyone over such a short time, like over a couple of days, doing hard things together, going on that hike that some people were hating me for, the cold plunges that you crushed the cold plunge, um, those things like really bonded everyone really
yeah,
deeply. And yeah, it was so, so special. So yeah, thank you for flying all the way out from the UK. That was also very brave of you to do.
yeah. Um, the other thing that I was going to say was that even though it was so short, like it was only 3 days, when I came back, it felt like I had been there for like 2 weeks because
Mhm.
of how deep we actually went and the deep connections that we actually built. Like we, I feel like we got so close in such a short amount of time because of all the stuff that we were talking about.
Mm.
So yeah, that was another thing that I loved. And yeah, flying from the UK, I mean, the journey there was easy, but oh my gosh, it was a nightmare getting back.
I know you
Yeah.
guys had flight delays. You
Oh
spent an
gosh.
extra night in Calgary. It was
Yeah.
a hot mess. You
Yeah.
made it. And luckily, you were flying with Keely, I think.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So
So I
you
wasn't
guys
alone.
were together. I know that
Yeah.
was so, so special though. And would you say, like, I'm just curious to know, would you say you came to the retreat one version of yourself and left like another version?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I think I've said it to a couple of people before, but I think the retreat was life changing for me. Like it sounds dramatic, but it was really being able to find like my purpose and really understand like what my true reason was for making jewelry. Like that was what the tipping point was. And as soon as I came back home, I was just so excited to kind of get stuck in and get started on everything. So yeah,
Mm,
I think even like now I'm still excited.
to come to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I love hearing this so much, Emily, because obviously the retreat for me was something I've wanted to run retreats for years and years and years. And I didn't do it the year before because I was like, no. And then last year I almost didn't do it because I was like, no, maybe I need to wait another
No
year.
way.
And I can't believe that Nelly, we didn't do it. And I'm just so like grateful to everyone who came to the first retreat, to you for coming all the way from the UK, not even knowing what it's going to look like because we'd never done one of these before, and then hearing like the impact that it's had on you. It's just so, so special to me. And it does the same thing as you guys going to events. It gives me conviction and like, oh my gosh, we need to do more of these. We need to help more people. We need to create these spaces where people can connect deeply and can move through these blocks, because you're right. You can only do so much on Zoom. And I love Zoom. I mean, our whole JBA program's on Zoom. We have weekly group calls. We go deep. You can't beat in person though. You just can't beat it.
Yeah.
It just goes to another level. So when you got back from the retreat, I noticed your Instagram stuff changed completely. Like there was a flip in how frequently you were showing up, the words you're using, the stories you were telling, the honesty you were having, the conviction you were having. There was almost more of like an unapologetic way of showing up. You were like, I'm going to take up space. I'm going to
Yeah.
show up more. I want more
Yeah.
people to know about me. And I could sense that. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I feel like because I was so excited coming back from the retreat, I just wanted to share my story and let everyone know about the exciting things that were going to happen with July Studio. And I, yeah, like you said, I felt like I was posting a lot more frequently because I had like stuff to actually say. Because before, I think like I was posting frequently, but it was kind of like just the same stuff all the time. But um, since defining like my purpose, I feel like I was able to share layers of my story, and share it in different ways as well. Like it is, there's like different sides that you can show, different levels of deepness that you can go into, and those can be separated into kind of lots of different posts and different kinds of content that people can consume. So yeah, it's still something that I get excited about. I think a couple of years ago I probably wasn't excited about posting Instagram content, but now it does feel exciting. It feels like I'm actually connecting with people.
Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, I feel like it's just a really good way to share my story, and find other people who resonate, with what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's just a really good way of kind of, yeah, finding your own people, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good to kind of be able to tell your story and have a platform where you can actually do it. And it's a lot. It like social media makes it a lot easier now as well. So having the platform and being able to take up space, and kind of not be afraid about it is one thing that I've learnt to do, since coming back from the retreat, which has been really nice. Yeah, and I'm excited to keep going and see
Mm-hmm.
how, my business continues to grow as well.
Yeah, I love this, Emily. So taking up space is so, so big. And it's also so hard for so many people to give themselves permission to take up space in this world. And it's heartbreaking because just because we take up more space doesn't mean we're taking away from someone else's space. There's room enough in this whole world for everyone to take up more space, to share their passions. And one of the, I heard this the other day, but one of the things I love reframing marketing as is marketing is just a fancy word for how can I get more people to know about this thing that I am so passionate about, that I'm pouring so much love and so much energy into, that are going to be positively impacted by this? How can I get more people to know about this thing that I'm so excited and so lit up by? And it kind of ties into that whole taking up space thing. When we take away, like, well, what do I get from this? And we think of like, oh my gosh, how many people are we going to impact by showing up? How many people are going to resonate with us? How many people are going to feel less alone? How many people are going to get that permission to take up space as well from seeing what you're doing? It also has such a positive impact. So what would you say is your one piece of advice to someone who's like, okay, my goal for 2025 is to take up more space with my jewelry business, get more people knowing about me, but I still have that block of like, oh, what if I'm judged? What if I'm criticized? What if people think I'm being too much?
Yeah.
Talk us through what your advice would be.
I would say just do it anyway. Like, I think you say it all the time where you say, feel the fear and do it anyway. I think
Yeah.
that would probably be the advice here. And like, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it? Because I think what I was saying earlier, like in 10 years' time, you're going to regret that you didn't do it now.
Yeah.
And like, if you're passionate about it, then you should be doing what needs to be done, and what's required to kind of get yourself to that end goal. So yeah, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like all my clients are probably so tired of me saying that, but that's the way we grow. That's the way we grow our
Yeah.
businesses. We can't get rid of the fear. And actually, the more we avoid things, the bigger the fear gets. The bigger the fear gets. Have you found that taking up more space in your business, in life, like in this way, has impacted your personal life or your life in your corporate job? Have you seen any like positive impact in other areas of your life?
Yeah, I think at work, to be honest, there's people that I wouldn't normally speak to that have come up to me because they are following my business account, who have said that they really like that I'm sharing my story, because they know that there are other people out there who will resonate with that. So it's just been really nice to hear that, and really just hearing that support from other people as well. It kind of motivates me more.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I'm feeling more confident, to be honest, because I I've got a purpose, so that kind of drives me. So that's definitely had a really positive impact. And just sharing my story with friends as well. Like, I don't really get deep with people, so it's nice to see, um, to let them see another side of me as well. Um, so we've been able to connect more as well and talk about different um, topics related to that. And it's been interesting to, even with like friends, I've been able to open up more conversations, which is, it's strange, but it's been really good. So yeah, it's had a really good impact. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is really special. And yeah, it's such a good reminder because sometimes we forget of like the impact of the skills and the experiences that a business gives us impacts us in so many other ways than just building a business. You know, it impacts like you shared your corporate world, your friendships. Um, I have to address the elephant in the room before we let you go, Emily. You did not wear your jewelry for years to your corporate job, and nobody even knew you had a business.
Yeah.
And I think it was only the first week back from the retreat you wore your jewelry for the first time. Was that it?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So let's talk to somebody who's resonating with this, listening to this podcast, who's also not wearing their jewelry out and about to parties, to work.
Yeah.
Like, what's your advice to them?
Oh, that's a good one. I guess it's thinking about the impact that you want to have, because like I was I was scared of wearing my jewelry at work, to be honest, because I didn't want to have to talk about it. But it's kind of reframing that, and thinking about like why should I be thinking about that way? Because I should be excited that I've got my own
Mm.
business, and it is a cool thing. Like, I've got my own
Yeah.
business, and I feel like I should be sharing that with people. So coming back from the retreat, I was like, I feel more confident, so I should show people that I feel more confident. And so that was a way of me doing that. And I was wearing my jewelry more at work, um, and sort of more statement pieces as well. I used to wear like my bracelets to work, but you couldn't really see them because I would put them under my sleeve.
Mm.
So then I started wearing my earrings, like the dangly ones, so it was more obvious that I was wearing them. Um, and that has then opened up more conversations as well. So it kind of relates to what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm wearing my own jewelry to be able to start conversations at work, and like I've been able to use those as examples as well, in kind of helping people and trying to find ways to resonate with people as well. So yeah.
Mm. So beautiful. And yeah, that is Such great advice, Emily. I'm glad that now you're wearing your jewelry out and about. And for anyone who's not, like, this is your sign to start wearing your jewelry out. Be uncomfortable with what people are going to ask you. And have you ever had a negative comment? Never.
No.
People are obsessed over your jewelry. They're obsessed. They want to see more. So, yeah, go out there, wear your jewelry. So, Emily, we have like a couple more minutes. Talk to us about your wins that you've celebrated in your business over the past year. You know, how many stores are you
Oh,
in?
yeah.
How's sales? How's your confidence in what you're doing? How's your clarity over what you need to do and how you need to do it? Like, what are the wins that you're celebrating moving
Yeah.
into the 2025?
Yes, I feel like 2024 was such a good year. I think I did a post at the end of the year that was similar to kind of like your Spotify Wrapped thing. And I did like a year in review. And when I was posting that, or like when I was writing it, it was really cool to see like what I'd actually done over the whole year. So some of the stuff that I shared in there was doing 22 markets, was which was really cool because I'd only started doing markets like back in it was probably July 23 when I started doing it. So I haven't really been doing them for that long. So it was cool to see like how many markets I actually managed to attend while still having like a
A
corporate
job.
job.
Yeah.
Um, some of the other stuff was being able to get into, I think it was 7 stores across the UK, which has been really cool as well. And that I really want to keep growing that, but I think 7 has been really cool to start with.
Yeah.
Um, and then one of the coolest thing was being able to double my revenue as well. Like that has been so huge for me. Um, and not thinking about it as like a little side hobby anymore. Like it's actually a business. And that's been really cool to see as well. And seeing how like all the stuff that's come out of the JBA, and being able to see the results from that has been really cool as well. And I think I want to say the biggest thing is probably my confidence. I feel like that has been like a huge win, and being able to develop that and speaking to more people, connecting with more small business owners, and like finding connections. That's probably a huge
Mm.
thing as well. So yeah, I'm just so excited for 2025 and seeing like how much further I can take July Studio and all the progress that I feel like I'm going to make. And I've got some new exciting projects coming up this year as well. So I'm excited to get started on those and share them with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you, Emily. I mean, 2024 was an incredible year. You hit some wonderful milestones, especially considering you're still, you know, pretty full time in your job. At 4 days a week is a lot of time to be putting into a corporate job and then building the business. And you're hitting some incredible milestones and building your confidence. And yeah, I'm just so excited for you as well. I know 2025 is going to be incredible. So for anyone who's listening, who's maybe feeling how you were feeling a couple of years ago before you came into the JBA, would you recommend they come and join us in the Jewelry Business Academy? What would you say to them?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think there's so many different resources out there, and um, I think the trouble is with the actual implementation, and that's one of the things that has made the difference in joining the JBA, and especially with the community as well. Like, everyone is cheering you on,
Mm-hmm.
and being a business owner on your own, it's hard because you don't really know which direction you should go in, and what are the specific tasks that you actually need to do, and of course taking action. So yeah, being in the JBA has been able to, I guess, yeah, help me with the different strategies that I need to implement, but also actually holding me accountable to actually doing them, because it's good that you've got the knowledge, but then if you don't implement it, then you're never going to get anywhere. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. definitely.
Implementation is key.
Yes.
There's an abundance of overeducated, underachieving business owners out there. And it comes down to consuming all the podcasts, reading all the books, like doing courses, but not implementing. So that implementation is the only way we see results. So thank you for sharing that, Emily. This has been so much fun. Thank you for joining. And honestly, thank you for coming and sharing your story so vulnerably as well, because I know there's going to be people who are going to deeply resonate with this, and it's going to inspire them to keep going and keep building their business and keep leaning into the blocks and the discomfort that comes around with showing up and taking up space, and build that confidence within themselves. So I know we're going to have people feeling super inspired after listening to your story, and they're going to want to connect with you, check out your jewelry, support you. So where can our listeners find you, and how can they support you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can just search for July Studio Creations, and or you can head to my website. So it's www.julystudiocreations.com, and I am planning to release a podcast soon as well. I don't have an exact date yet, but
it will be out before this episode goes out. So
okay,
share
fingers
the name,
crossed.
share the name.
Fingers, yeah, it will be called From Shy to Seen. So if it is released, yeah, maybe give that a search in Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you launching your podcast this year. For anyone who's listening who's like confused, podcast marketing is extremely effective and so good for building your community, so good for building your confidence. It's like so fun. And it's part of the JBA. It's what we get our clients to do. And so I'm super excited for you. I think you're going to have it's just going to be such a powerful podcast for so many women and men and people to listen to. So I'm excited for you to launch that.
Yeah, I'm excited but nervous, but mostly
Nervous is
excited.
normal. Nervous is normal.
Yeah,
It's going to be
yeah.
good. Well, thank you so much, Emily. I can't wait to have you back on. Maybe we can do an in-person recording when you come to the retreat.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That would be so
Yeah,
fun. Maybe we
yeah.
need to work towards that. Plan that in. But thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait to bring you back on in a couple of months.
Oh, thanks for having me.